Okay, I think I'm live. Welcome, guys, to our regular Friday Ask Me Anything. I'll just wait for this to come up. It looks like it's started now. So yeah, if you're watching, welcome. Welcome to regular Friday, 12:30 UK time. Actually, a bit early. I'm 1 minute early, so maybe I'll hang around as I normally do right at the start, just to see who's going to join me. So it's 12:30 UK time, and this is my regular Friday Ask Me Anything, but also I'm gonna sort of try to drop some knowledge bombs as we do it if no one wants to chip in and ask me any questions. So if you are watching, if you're watching live, let me know you're here. Right, hashtag live, and then also if you want to share any wins from the week, what you did well, that would be great. We want to hear it. So, as you might have seen, the title of this live is Four Keys to Hitting Any Target. This was inspired by a post that a group I'm in did this morning. They weren't talking specifically about fitness or anything like that, but I got inspired, so I'm going to talk you through a few things that I think you need if you're going to achieve any goal. Now, it doesn't have to apply to fitness, it can be any goal, but we'll go through that in a bit. So if you're here, hit me up, drop some emojis or give a wave or a smiley face or hashtag live in the comments so they know you're here. Cool. Alright, okay, let me just. Sometimes comments don't come through on the Facebook on the computer, so I'm just gonna. That's why we've got phones. Let's have a look here. Cool. All right. So let me just. Sorry about the dead space. Let me just go and see if we get any comments coming in on this. Cool. Nothing seems to be coming through. So yeah, today I want to talk about 4 habits that you can use or that you need to achieve any goal. It doesn't matter if it's weight loss, it doesn't matter if you're trying to put on muscle, or even in business, if you want to achieve a certain amount of sales or a revenue target or clients, customers booked into your diary. It doesn't matter what you need or what you want to achieve. These are the 4 things you need. So number one, you have to be all in. There's no ifs, there's no buts, there's no ums. I mean, this may sound cliche, but cliches are there for a reason. They've become cliche because people keep saying them over and over again. But there's no point saying I want to be 50, 60 pounds lighter, but I'm also happy to do the right things when it's convenient. But I have no willpower, or I'm okay to do it when I have willpower, or when I'm not so busy. Yeah, of course I want to. My target is I'm trying to lose 60 pounds, 50 pounds. But I'm very busy. I'll only make sensible decisions when I eat at home. Like when I eat out, then that doesn't count. So you have to be all in 100% if you set yourself a goal or a target. Let me just give you a personal example. Um, so I'm a guy who likes to work out in the gym. I like all the toys. I like all the equipment. I've been very lucky because I've worked in a lot of gyms, and I've often had access to gym or gym facilities, either in a clinic or in an actual gym. And because I used to spend a long part of my day coaching clients in exercise, I really couldn't find the motivation to do exercise at home on my day off. It felt a bit like knocking off work to carry bricks, if you heard that old expression. And I'm also not really particularly a morning person. I've had to get up and train clients at 6:30 in the morning, but that's the hardest part of my day. I'm more of a nightingale than I am a lark. So I'm not really much of a morning person. Could never motivate myself to exercise really in the morning. If I was on sort of a mid-morning shift, I'm not the type of person who used to get into the gym an hour before and sort of do a workout to make sure that I got it in before I started my shift. I mean, if I was on a bit later, maybe if I was starting at 12, yes, I'd come in and do an 11 o'clock workout. But really, mornings aren't really my time. When I used to work out, it used to be sort of mid-afternoon, 2 o'clock. Often I'd have a lull between clients, or end of my day if I wasn't working on a gym floor, or when I was studying and things like that. I used to come in and do a session, just before tea, after before I had my dinner, maybe even at late o'clock at 8 or even 9 o'clock at night. But then 2020 happened and we went into lockdown, and I didn't have access to a gym. I couldn't, and I had to find ways to be effective at work. So I'd coached boot camps before, and I've also done one-on-one personal training. So I wasn't in parks and things like that. So it wasn't like, and I had a little bit of equipment lying around, but also it wasn't like I completely had to, kind of, make something up, because I certainly had the knowledge. But they weren't necessarily my first choice. And I also learned pretty quickly in lockdown that if I did not get my workouts in, then I'd probably sit down in front of the computer here and I'd start working on my online business, and then the day would just vanish and I just probably wouldn't get in my workout in. So I knew that I had to now work out at home, and I also had to get my workouts in first thing in the morning. So because I'm all in on my health and fitness, that's what I did, and in the end, it actually worked out really well for me, because it led to me developing the Strong Mind, Strong Body Challenge. It also led to me my second program, Metabolic Muscle. So yeah, it turned out well for me. But the reason that I was able to do that, the reason that I was able to adapt and find reasons to make sure that I was achieving my health and fitness goals, was because I'm all in. And even when lockdown shut, I'm back onto it, and I'm still doing the occasional exercise at home. So if you need to be all in, as I said. So when you're on a roll, when you're trying to achieve your goals, when you've got your goal in target in mind, you don't look for the shut doors. You go, I can't go out that door. You look for the open windows you can crawl out and get these things done, even if it's not ideal, and it keeps you on your path. The second, and arguably more important, these aren't actually necessarily any order of importance, but the second thing I want to talk about is do the maths. What gets measured gets managed. If you don't do calculations, you're just, if you're not measuring, you're guessing. So what you need to do is you need to work out what you need, break it down into what it takes to get to your target. This could be counting calories, knowing how much you're putting in and how much you're, estimating how much you're burning and how much you need. It could be counting your macronutrient percentages, making sure that you're getting a certain percentage of certain weight. It could be measuring steps. I mean, these days you've got personal monitors like Fitbits and things, and they can count these things for you, and they can do some of the counting for you. But you definitely need to be counting something. Fitbits can track your sleep, but even if you don't have a Fitbit, you can track your sleep, monitor everything. You write down the hours that you do sleep-wise, when you got to bed, how many hours you got, how you felt about it. You need to quantify stuff. If you're not measuring, you're guessing. Even if it's just measuring the number of sessions that you do in the week in the gym, making sure that you're hitting quantifiable goals. You can't just be like, I'm trying to lose some weight. Even having a goal is good, quantifiable goal, so at least you know where you're headed towards. Even if you have a strength goal, a lot of people make the mistake. They go the strength or a muscle mass goal, and they'll go into the gym and they go, yeah, I want to get bigger. I want to be stronger, and they don't write down the weights that they're lifting. They go in, they choose the same weight that they've always lifted, and they don't progress it. They don't really count their reps. They just kind of do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I mean, it's the easiest thing in the world to count your reps and write them down. So yeah, as I said, so many people go into the gym and they don't count any of this, and then they don't add a little bit the next time, and they don't add a little bit the next time, and they're not progressing. So yeah, write down your reps, write down everything, record everything. And the other thing, if you're trying to put on weight, you need to be counting your calories. A lot of guys trying to lose, I want to bulk up, but I don't want to put on fat. That's fair enough. That's easy. Sorry, it's not easily achievable, but it's achievable. But a lot of guys are trying to, I'm going to eat a calorie restricted diet, or I'm going to watch what I eat. I'm not trying not to overeat, but also I want to bulk up. That doesn't happen either. You need to count your calories, making sure you're getting into a calorie surplus. You can make sure you're eating clean. It's not just shoving random food in your face, but make sure you're counting. All right, what else do we have to talk? What else is so? And the other thing about counting is you have to be realistic about your timelines. So you don't start a diet and exercise routine, and so 6 weeks before your best friend's wedding, and you want to lose 30 pounds. It's not achievable unless you do some serious damage to yourself, and then it's not sustainable. So do the maths, know how long it's going to take, be realistic, and make sure you're monitoring yourself constantly. This will be good too, even for a bit of motivation, so you won't get frustrated. If you've nailed it for 2 weeks, and then you are counting, and you're only a few pounds down, but at least you're realistic, then you'll know that you're only supposed to be a few pounds down after a couple of weeks. So it all breaks down to the mathematical equations. Is any of this making sense to you? Make sure you comment, if you got any questions about what I'm saying or just general questions. Give me a wave if you're here. Right, okay, cool. The third thing, and it's probably the thing that most people don't realize they need, and it's something I certainly struggle with, and I've become slightly more aware of lately, is your mindset. Engineer the right identity. You have to have the right mindset. You have to see yourself as someone who can achieve these goals. If you want to lose 50 pounds, you have to think that you're the sort of person today who is 50 pounds lighter, or you can be that person. So what sort of person would you be if you are 50 pounds lighter? And is that something that you're prepared to move into? And are you the sort of person who's willing to do the things you need to do to be 50 pounds lighter? So how you show up today is how you need to show up in the future as well. So what sort of people are you hanging around with? Are they positive influence on you? Are they negative influences on you? Are you strong enough to resist either your own temptation, your own willpower, but also other people who may be trying to lead you astray, either with saying, if you're trying to lose weight, why don't you have another drink? Or, oh, it doesn't matter, why can't you just have this meal? You have to be the sort of person who can withstand these negative influences. Also, do you see yourself as a fat person? Have you built your whole identity up until this point around being a fat person? Now, if you see yourself like that, you're never going to achieve your goals of weight loss. Are you a type of person who hasn't had a lot of money? If that's your goal, you want to improve yourself financially. Are you the type of person who's just so stuck in being someone who struggles financially? And if you don't change that mindset, if you don't give yourself, an abundance mindset, and believe that you're someone who can do these sort of things, then you're never going to truly achieve them. So as I said, if you've never been a light person, you have to feel like you could be a light person. You have to feel the shoes of a skinnier person. If you've never been rich, you have to feel the shoes of a rich person. Your whole identity has to be based around the person that you want to be, not the person that you are today. How you view food, is it something that you enjoy, or is it something that's fuel for you? I can tell you that sometimes you just need to consider fuel as fuel, or food, sorry, with certain macronutrients and certain calories that you can enjoy. It can't be just, oh well, like, what's the point of eating if I don't enjoy it 100%. I know my grandmother used to always say, if it tastes good, it must be good for you. Unfortunately, we're evolved creatures that maybe back in the day, things that tasted good, things that are sweet, we couldn't get access to them that often. So, and they're full of energy. So our body, we've evolved to crave them, and yes, want more and more and more. But unfortunately, now we do live in certainly a food and energy abundant society, and so we don't need these things. So just because it feels good and tastes good doesn't mean it's necessarily good for you. So are you getting this? Just making sense to you? The mindset thing, making sure that you're the type of person who can be that person that you want to be, who can achieve your goals, who can be, you turn up as that, richer, better looking, better life person. All right. So, and finally, which sort of is a bit of an overlapping principle, the fourth thing I want to say is you need to be honest with yourself. So I've heard of saying self-honesty is power. So, I know this is something that I struggle with. I've traditionally not taken negative feedback particularly well. It's always felt like criticism, and I have a tendency to get defensive when anyone gives me any negative feedback. But that's something I've had to work on fairly recently. And does that sound like you? Whenever someone says any little thing that maybe is not even a feedback, but you take everything as a criticism? Well, that can be the hardest thing when you have to be self-critical. That can be one of the hardest things to have to deal with. That's the last thing you want, is your own mind criticizing you. But just like taking negative feedback from other people and realizing that that's just an opportunity to grow, you have to take um, negative feedback from yourself and be honest with yourself, and but also honest with yourself about what you're doing well. But also honest with yourself, or maybe being self-reflective, looking at what you're doing, and identifying where you're slipping up. I think it's quite easy to you go, oh, I was good 5 days a week. Why isn't it working? Maybe because on those other 2 days of the week, the weekend, you really did blow it out a bit. And if you average it, you done all your measurements and your quantifications, and you average it out over the week, and really that wasn't the sort of averages you needed to achieve your goals, then yeah, you have to be honest with yourself. You go, look, I'm slipping up here, and I'm not advocating, beating yourself up. Negative self-image is the worst thing. So yes, as I've already touched on, you need to um, have the right self-image and be the positive and the person you need to be to achieve your goal. Don't beat yourself up, but you also need to be self-reflective and honest with yourself, and identify what you've been doing well and identify what you haven't been doing so well, so that you can make those adjustments that are needed. So why are you behind in hitting your targets? Why are you not seeing the numbers you want to see? Be honest with yourself. And this too may help you stop getting frustrated. You'll know why been out, you're not hitting, you haven't achieved where you want to be. It's just like the numbers. You'll have them in front of you. You'll see what you've done, and you'll actually be able, instead of getting to the end of the week and going, like, oh, I was so good all week. Why am I not losing weight? I don't know what to do. Actually, stop. Look at yourself. Be honest. You go, actually, you know what? I wasn't as good as I thought. But let's be honest. And actually, I can make some changes, and that can be a positive thing. You can move forward, and you know, and keep on. I read a blog post recently, in which I talked about navigating forward. So honesty is one of the best things you can do to keep writing yourself and navigating forward. So for example, there's a big difference between, in terms of beating yourself up, going, like, my child or parent, they got really sick, so I had to care for them, which meant I couldn't really do my own self care as much. So that's probably why I haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve this week. Or my child and parent got sick, and I put on some weight. This is ridiculous. Like, this is the worst. That's a very negative attitude to have. So the honesty, being honest with yourself, can actually help you stay motivated. Certainly, you know, honesty breeds success. The most successful teams in the world, whether they be running a hedge fund such as Ray Dalio's Bridgewater Group, he has a policy of radical honesty. So if you don't know about Ray Dalio, get his book Principles, available in all bookstores and Amazon. But whether you're a hedge fund manager, or you're playing in the Premier League, or the NFL, in America, all successful teams, all successful people have a culture of honesty, certainly within in the group, in the team setting. So showing up, taking responsibility for the actions you have to perform, in your team. So that is, you knowing where, in attack what you need to be doing, in defense taking classically, there's these football's a sport I play them, and they're really good going forwards, but they don't really help the team out going backwards and defending. So they need to be honest with themselves, or the whole team needs to be honest and go, that person isn't going to do that job. So they either have to give him a bollocking if that is the role he has to play and he's not doing it, or he have to accept and be honest and go, you know what, that's not gonna happen. We have to be honest. So yeah, some the most successful captains and the most successful coaches breed a culture of honesty, but also they generally are the most honest people that you're ever going to meet. Ones that come to mind, Jordan Henderson, particularly Roy Keane. He's very honest in his punditry, but certainly even as a player, he used to call out people if they weren't delivering. So I mean, honestly, as I said, honesty, it'll give you a bit of a kick up the arse if you're not doing the right things, but it'll also take some of the pressure off. So make sure that you're setting realistic, honest goals with yourself. So you need to be honest and make the right adjustments. So that's the four things you really need to achieve any goal. So you need to be all in. You need to give it all. You need to and you need to decide that that's the person you're going to be. That's the third one. I've skipped ahead. All in. The second one, do the maths. Work out, quantify it. Work out what you need to do, where you need to be, what the steps need to be taken, and measure things. Measure. What gets measured gets managed. Third one, engineer the right identity. Believe that you can get this, because if you're self-sabotaging, you're never going to get there. And that's something I'm really working on at the moment. Making sure that I'm the person who shows up, who believes what I want to achieve. I believe I'm the person I want to be, but also putting less pressure on myself and also showing up with a better mindset about how I interact with other people. And finally, be honest with yourself. If you're if you're not if you're not the type of person who's ever going to be able to make these changes, be honest with yourself. Maybe you need to change your target. Also, be honest with what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. So, the best way to actually achieve these things and have all these four pillars of achieving any goal is to take on a coach. Someone who's going to, help you stay focused and be all in. Someone who's going to help you do the maths, guide you on what you need to be measuring, and keep you accountable to the numbers. Someone who's going to help you stay positive. Someone who's going to fight the negative as well, and help you form that right identity. Can't remember the guy's name, but there's a famous quote: "You're the sum total of the five people you spend the most time with." So if you hang out with and you spend time with and you get coached by people who have been where you've want to be, already are at where you want to be, then that's the best thing. And they're also going to be 100% honest with you, hopefully, if they're a decent coach. So if you need any help with any of this, hit me up, send me a message, or write me a comment. Remember the four things we chatted about, and have a great weekend, guys. If you've got any more comments or questions, if you just want to, and you watch this on the replay, #replay, and I will get around to answering them. So cool. That's me for another Friday, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Bye.